Another cool thing, and I've actually experienced this, is something called auroral reflection. I haven't experienced it so much on VHF, but the question is, what is a characteristic of VHF signals received via auroral reflection? Answer, the signals exhibit rapid fluctuations of strength and often sound distorted. So think about what happens. You know, you got this aurora. I don't know how many of you've seen the Northern Lights, but you know, it's constantly changing kind of thing, right? Well, if you got radio waves bouncing off it, they're gonna change too, depending on how that aurora is changing. And you know, people will actually intentionally bounce signals off it, mostly I think in VHF, UHF, but you can hear it on HF too a lot of times. The signals just sound a lot different, and they get this weak fluttery thing. At one point a couple years ago, propagation was good over the North Pole, and you could really tell the auroral propagation then. And I think what was happening is it was actually going through the aurora and then back through it to northern Russia. And you know, I was contacting all these stations in northern Russia. And you could tell just from the weird flutter of these signals that it was going over the North Pole. So that's pretty cool, actually. Meteor scatter. There's websites that you can predict when these meteor showers are going to happen, right? There's websites where you can go to that will tell you when these meteor showers are going to happen, whether or not these meteor showers are going to be good for meteor scatter propagation, and then you can even make schedules with other stations to try and make contact during times of these meteor showers. So that's a big thing too amongst some people. Question, what is the band best suited to communicating via meteor scatter? Answer, 6 meters. For some reason, the 6-meter band is the best for meteor scatter. There's another thing called tropospheric scatter. Now, usually I tell people, and this is usually the case, that weather conditions don't affect radio propagation, except this tropospheric scatter. So at certain times, you get this temperature inversion. And what happens is you actually have warmer air on top of colder air. And this forms a duct called the tropospheric duct. And if you can, and again, you can figure out, there's websites that tell you when this is happening, and you can see where they're happening. And you can shoot your signals into these ducts, and then it'll bounce around in this duct for a while, and come out somewhere else. And that's kind of an amusing thing. And it's a weather thing. So question, what is the mode responsible for allowing over-the-horizon VHF and UHF communications to ranges of approximately 300 miles on a regular basis? Answer, tropospheric scatter. And what happens when these ducts form is that they form and they're stable for a long period of time, like weeks sometimes. So, the word gets around that, these ducts are formed, and people get on and talk to each other via these ducts. So that's kind of actually amusing. One time I was listening to the U of M repeater, and the U of M repeater is connected to a system called Echolink. And Echolink it's voice over IP over the internet, so people can connect to the U of M repeater via the internet. And one time I'm listening to the repeater, and this guy from Buffalo got on, and he was making like really weird transmissions. He was just sort of identifying himself, then disconnecting and identifying. Well, I broke in and I talked to him for a bit. What he was trying to do is figure out if there was a tropospheric duct between Ann Arbor and he was in Buffalo, New York. And he was doing that by getting on the U of M repeater, getting it to transmit, and then listening in Buffalo on the output frequency. And he was doing that with a bunch of repeaters he could reach with via Echo. He could reach via Echolink. So he was trying to like map out where the tropospheric ducts were. That was kind of amusing. What causes tropospheric ducting? Temperature inversions in the atmosphere. So that's what I was saying. And like I said, they're pretty stable. So that's that. There's people that are into propagation they're really kind of almost the weirder guys in amateur radio, but I mean, some of this stuff is pretty cool. We had a talk at the Aero Club from this guy who does this stuff, and he was telling us all this stuff about ducting and all that.